This is a pretty big point. As Russ said in the intro, we sort of went to visit the future and didn't find any advertising agencies there. And that's because we're not investing in it collectively. Gareth Kay was out here a couple of weeks ago and he shared this alarming insight with us, which is that Starbucks spend more money training their baristas than the advertising industry does training its staff. You are worth less to Martin Sorrell than a barista is worth to Starbucks. And that's pretty alarming because we work for these big companies that have plenty of money and they should actually be reinventing what we all do, but they're not, unfortunately. However, Google are doing some kind of interesting stuff. They're actually taking some responsibility for this and for creating sort of digital practitioners. And they have a thing called We Are Squared in London, which is a school, a fully funded school. It's about where digital meets the real world. It's experiential. It's about creating mindsets, not just skill sets. And the kind of cool thing is they don't just use it to talk about Google products. They kind of use it to talk about everything that's available in the digital ecosystem. So I'm just going to play a little film on that.
Each year we were having some really, really talented graduates entering into the industry. Our partners were finding it increasingly challenging to find initiatives and programs which would upskill them in an accelerated fashion.
172 hours of workshops with over 300 professionals from all over the industry helping us form content which was going to be really relevant and really engaging.
This was a class of really talented graduates, perhaps people with a year's experience, and they'd given up 8 weeks to come and sit and learn.
I really got them to do it. It'll be up to people like you to see what's coming, adapt, fail, try something new.
We live in like a networked world, and if we're going to do really effective stuff with digital, we have to think of it as part of a bigger picture and not in a silo on its own. And that's something that I really want to take back to the agency.
Squared was about creating an experience where they could decide for themselves what their opinion should be in a really informed and in a really committed way, and really start to apply the learnings in a dynamic and in an immediate way from the incredible speakers which they had access to.
You create the future, so you make it a goal.
My boyfriend tells me I love Squared more than I love him, and so it's that kind of enthusiasm, across the communications industry that I think will be the biggest change, that excitement and that energy.
Because what you see through the letters alone is the advent of hyper-competition.
For me, we've got to deconstruct what digital means in our industry a bit and kind of flatten it out and just make it applicable across our industry, across the departments within our agencies, and infuse it through everything we do.
As you go through life, force yourself to keep learning.
Whatever you do, whatever you create for the internet, make sure it has something at the back end that is of value and interest to people.
It's exceeded my expectations. It's been amazing. It's been more than I thought it was going to be. I never thought in a million years I'd get to see some of the speakers that we've seen.
It's proven to us return on investment on so many different levels. All we had to do was give you our people, and they've come back motivated, inspired, brighter, more focused on digital. It was brilliant.
It was an amazing experience for the landscape as a whole, for the industry as a whole. The networking, the collaboration, the sense of goodwill, and the fact that we all came together to create and deliver this amazing program is something really, really unique and really, really special.
This isn't the end. Someone said that the end is never the end, but the end is the beginning of always, and it's the beginning of a brave new future for me and for every single one of us here at Square.
And that's awesome if you live in London and you can get to that. Unfortunately, that'd be kind of hard. So here's sort of the practical part. How do we make our own future as an industry? I think there's a few things we can do. The first one is we need to reset our collective success parameters. It's not about Cannes Lions. It can't just be about Cannes Lions anymore. If it is, we'll keep looking for advertising-shaped problems in our client's business as opposed to human-shaped problems, which is what we really need to be solving. Creatives reading award annuals and planners reading planning blogs is disastrous. Mad cow disease happened because we fed cows to cows, right? Same thing. We need to learn from outside the confines of our own industry. We need to learn from the fringes, from other industries, other cultures, other approaches. We can't just look at what advertising has always done. We need to hire people from outside our industry as well. Dan Wyden talks about one of the benefits of Wyden and Kennedy being in Portland in the early days was that they found it really hard to find advertising professionals in Portland because there weren't any fucking agencies there. So they kind of hired random other people instead, and it's made them a more creative company because they don't just have people who've come from Ogilvy, JWT, Saatchi and Saatchi. They've got people who came from other walks of life, and that's more interesting. So hire outsiders, and then encourage people to play out a position. If you want to get people to collaborate, you need to break down the barriers between your job and your job and your job. Get more collaboration going between the departments. Assuming you can get smart people into your agency, then you want to keep them around as long as possible. Google talked about, they said that if you're working on your startup, they'd rather you stayed working at Google while you planned your startup and leave really at the last minute. In agency land, if any of us started talking about our startup, we'd be given a cardboard box and marched out the door. And I think this is all of this, these are not easy solutions, but it's incredibly critical. Jack Welch from General Electric, there's a famous line that he has about, if the rate of change outside your company is slower than the rate of change within your company, then you're fucked. I don't think he used that word, but for the advertising industry, the rate of change outside our industry is way, way, way faster than the rate of change inside it. So we need to embrace change and find ways to bring changes to our industry and to do them really quickly. Thank you. Russ.